evening and welcome to another exciting program. Crumbs, do these Mondays come round quick? Well, as I say, we've got an exciting program, and before we start, between you and I, there's a gay butcher down the local high street, and his partner left him because he put his meat up a couple of coppers. Anyway, that's enough of dirty jokes. Tonight we're looking at, what are we looking at? I don't know. I'm all confused. No, tonight we're looking at how we can counter the PSYOPS, and PSYOPS is a psychological operation. Now, I've said this in the past. The war that we're going through at the moment, where previous wars were with guns and tanks and battlefields and armies fighting each other, what we're going through now is a war against us, and it's a psychological war. It's a war of the mind. And what we're going to do is, number one, understand our enemy, and number two, do what General Zhukov did in World War II. And he was the general in the Russian army, and he studied the German blitzkrieg tactic of warfare. And he studied it thoroughly. And then what he did, he used exactly the same techniques back on the German army, and they wonder what the bleeding hell had hit them. And that's what generally happens in history. Now, Zheng Zet, if I pronounce that correctly, who was around the year, was it 5000 BC, who wrote The Art of War, said, when you're strong, act weak, and when you're weak, act strong. So I'm fed up with looking around, seeing doom and gloom, and people saying, oh, it's getting better now, the government is going to insist this or insist that. We're going to lock down this, lock down that. We're going to be totally communist within 2 weeks, and blah, 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 blah. And then you see these protests. But there's one thing that's left out. Positive. How are we going to fight this? How are we going to hit back? Give me one moment. What are we going to do in a positive way? Now, I've often said laugh at them, yeah. Not the protests, I mean the establishment. But there are ways. And tonight, that's what we're going to explore. Now, I've often talked about ideological subversion, and that's what we're having at the moment. I mean, the government are employing a behavioural, I wrote this down, I can never remember this. Behavioural Insights team, who admit on their website, if you go onto their website, the government behavioural insights team, that they're using nudge techniques. And a nudge technique is what ideological subversion is about. And if you want to find out what ideological subversion is, a gentleman who sadly, well, they say he passed away in 1990. I don't know, but I hope he's still alive, because I think he faked his death because he knew what was coming. A gentleman by the name of Yuri Bezmenov, Yuri Bezmenov. He's got loads of lectures on YouTube, and he explains ideological subversion far better than I can explain it. And if you study that, he did lectures in around about 1985, 84, and he described absolutely accurately what is going on today. Spot on, he was. So, you know, he didn't have a crystal ball or anything, but he was a senior KGB ideological subversion expert who defected to the West in 1970. And he knew his stuff. He knew exactly what he was talking about. So let's have a look at really what we can do. Now, first of all, I'm seeing part of this PSYOPS team working on social media. And what they do, and what I've heard, and I've seen this on YouTube, there's so-called gurus that tell us that Bill Gates, I won't say his name because I might get banned, has been arrested. And I've given up how many times I've heard that the Pope has been arrested. Obama and Michael or Michelle or whatever way you want to look at it has been arrested, and Fushi has been arrested, and it's all being hidden and all this. Has any one word I've got for that? Bullshit. Because what that is part of ideological subversion, because what they do is they build up hope on complete fantasy, and then they dash that hope, and then they build up hope again, and they dash that hope, and they keep doing that until a person is run down and run down and run down and run down, and then a nice person comes along and says, I can cure your depression because what I have is truth. All we need to do is get a in the arm, I won't say what, and all will be well. It's ideological subversion. So when you ever see these, now whether these characters know they're being used or not, I do not know. But if you see these people saying, oh yes, well, you know, aliens are coming down from space now, and they're advising Trump what to do, and the you know, the CIA is hiding up what's really happening because they're going to zap Biden with an X-ray beam. No, because remember, the way the system works, there's always got to be a team of people that they laugh at. So that, you know, for example, conspiracy theorists, the people that put tin hats on them, it came from a film. Can't remember the name of the film now, but you notice that Hollywood is virtually run by a group of people that we're not allowed to criticize, and the American military. And of course, the people behind this current situation, which I believe, what do they do in this film? They showed you people with tinfoil hats on as sort of conspiracy theorists, so that any scientific person who goes against the standard agenda can then be put into a pigeonhole of being a tinfoil hat wearer. That's how it works. Loony. And that's why in the former Soviet Union, any scientist, doctor, or any intellectual that went against the system was put into a lunatic asylum because they were considered lunatics, loopy. You're not allowed to really listen to them. And you look at the amount of doctors and scientists which are telling us the truth about this COVID, which is basically FLU, hyped up, and you don't hear of them. And if you do, they'll be looked on as being loopy, or you know, don't listen to them. And I found this a heck of a lot. Now let's have a look at my notes here, because here we go. Blimey. can't even read my own stuff. Anyway, how are we going to fight back? Well, first of all, we got to change the terminology. Okay. Now, the supermarkets are upping this sort of the non-muzzle wearers, which I absolutely categorically refuse to wear a bacteria breeder over my mouth for two reasons. One, I would be exempt normally because I'm slightly asthmatic, and two, I don't want to give myself bacterial pneumonia, and breathing into this cloth, this nice warm area, is a breeding ground for germs. No, I want to exhale it. And you know, if there's germs around, my immune system works very nicely, thank you. So what can we do? Now they're saying, oh, you know, you've got to have a sign, you've got to have this, you've got to have that. Well, a good general turns a disadvantage into an advantage. And that's what I'm not a general, but remember, we're all frontline troops in this. And we all got to be our own generals. Okay? So, you know, there's nobody dictating to us, nobody telling us what to do. Make up your own mind. Now, when you look on the internet, it's full of these videos of people going in deliberately to have aggro with the security people at the entrances of supermarkets. You know, well, oh, it's all right for me to do this, don't you do that, and all this. Aggro, aggro, aggro. Right. My view is what's at the door is a gorilla, okay? You're talking to the monkey, not the organ grinder. Now, most people have got cognitive dissonance, and this COVID religion is a religion, and it's telling them facts and figures. Someone with cognitive dissonance, if you're trying to tell them facts and figures, you would probably have more success going to a pigsty and lecturing the pigs not to roll in the mud. You know, you could go there with protests saying, pigs do not roll in the mud, and they go, and you know, and you could give them a leaflet telling them how bad it is to roll in the mud, even though they can't read and write, and they go, and they'll probably shit on it or whatever. And you think, I've made a breakthrough, they're listening to me. And they go, you walk away and they go and roll in the mud. That's what you're dealing with people with cognitive dissonance. You're wasting your time. They're too brainwashed. You could give them all the facts imaginable. It'll bounce off. And they'll be the first to get like in the arm. You know, Bill GATES special. But I'm actually beginning to wonder whether that's a little bit of, shall we say, Darwinian, the sort of Darwin thing working there, because natural selection. Because I don't actually believe in Darwin's theory, because I think that ET had something to do with us, but that's another question. But I believe in adaptation. Yes, I think that humans do adapt. Perfect example of this is Aborigines can sit in the sun all day and they can be stark naked laying in the sun and they'll be perfectly okay. If a European like myself did, you'd end up looking like a dried prune, and you probably, you can't. We can't. Aborigines have adapted, and around the world we adapt to the environment that we're in. Yes, I do believe in adaptation, but when you look at Darwin's theory of evolution, there's a lot of flaws in it, and but again, that's a different subject. I won't go into that. But what I'm actually saying is, think of your objectives, right? There's only a small percentage of people that are awake and know what's going on. Okay, the rest are, and when you speak to someone with cognitive dissonance, they might agree with you. You might say, you know, what's happening, that you could give them the facts, tell them what scientists are saying, and they go, oh yeah. And then they'll go home and they'll start snorting the BBC news. Oh, I must get some BBC news. And the pendulum will go back the other way. Oh yeah, oh there is a fake debit going around. Oh, and they'll forget exactly what you said, because again, they've got cognitive dissonance. Now, what our aim is in this fight is to tip the balance slightly. Now, I don't know what percentage of people have woken up. I've heard everything from 1% to 10%, maybe 15%, and I'll be very straight with you, I'm plucking figures out the sky. I don't know. If anybody does know, please tell me, but I don't know. It's very difficult to tell. I can only say when the local market was open, quite a large number of the stallholders, and the poor sods are not allowed to trade now, agree with me. And they were 100%, you know, and one of them or two of them might be actually watching this program tonight. Evening. But the fact is, it's difficult to tell. But I'll give you a statistic which is quite interesting. Now, every totalitarian regime has got in under a crisis, a fake crisis. Now let's look at the, because remember, to look forward, you've got to keep one eye looking backwards. Let's look at the Russian Revolution, 1917 uprising. That was said to be a crisis due to a bread shortage. And if you do your research, you realize that it wasn't Russians that started it, it was something else, but we won't go into that. But the Bolsheviks got in with only 7% support. Remember that, 7%. That's all. Chairman Mao, the percentage of support he got was not that much different. Very little. They tipped the balance. Let's do what Zhukov did. How did they do it? Because we want freedom. We don't want totalitarianism. But you've got to watch your enemy and look in the past, see what they did. And what they did is they basically did what the government is doing today with this behavioural insight group. So what we've got to do is counter PSYOP. How are we going to do it? Right. We're going to have, first of all, we're going to have fun. And secondly, doesn't matter whether you're 9, 90 or 100. We're all frontline troops. It doesn't matter what age you are. We can all do what I'm going to tell you now. Okay. Remember what I said? A good general, and remember we're all generals of our own army, which is us. A good general turns a disadvantage into an advantage. Okay. Now they tell you you've got to wear a lanyard if you go into Morrison's supermarket. Well, you haven't legally got to wear a lanyard. Now I thought a lanyard was something to do with yachts and that, but a lanyard is this. Okay. Right. So turn it into an advantage. So you stick it over your head. This is an old shoelace. See? So you're doing, your first objective is to get past the gorilla at the door. Okay. And they are doing that job 9 times out of 10 because they're like, I've got a bit of aggro, and they're trying to look big. You know, they've got a small willy and they want to show everybody they've got a big willy and all this sort of stuff. They probably live at home with their mummy and they still wet the bed. So this is my exemption card. Okay. But look at it a bit carefully. What you want to do is put information on there that the gorilla doesn't understand, but you do, and a small percentage of people do. And small percentage of people where the balance is just tipping. They're the ones you're after, not the cognitive dissonant. Okay. So I've got here, I always hold it towards the camera. You probably can't see it, but I've got on the top, I've got PSYOP, which is psychological operation, paranoia, exempt. Okay. So the gorilla won't know what a PSYOP is, but the gorilla will only see this because you walk past at a very high speed. But as long as he sees that, you can get in. Okay. Right. Now I've got another one here. Here it is. And it's, I don't know if you can see that, but it says obedience muzzle ritual exempt. Now what we're doing, we're changing the terminology, because what they're saying is a mask. A mask covers the face. A muzzle covers the mouth. So mask is wrong, because you could wear a Tony Blair mask. It's a muzzle. So we're getting the detail correct. It is obedience muzzle, and it's a ritual. So we've got to get that over, the ritual. It is a ritual, because that's a bit different. So what we're doing is what the behavioural insight team are doing. What we do is we use nudge, and it's a gentle nudge the other way. So for example, if I can show my fist, okay, we're not doing that. This is what protest marches do. They go up against the force and you can't stop it. It carries on. What we're doing, we're holding that force and we're helping it along and smashing it into the wall. That's nudge, because we can't stop it. So we're helping, you're helping your enemy to destroy itself. Now, going into chat, we've got, hello, soul bollocks. Hi, hello, nice to see you. And we've got Broadcast the Truth. Did you make them? Yes, I did. Now, if there's enough interest, I'll put them onto PDF and you can download them. So if you'd like me to download them, to put them on a PDF file, please say, and I'll put them on my website. So only if there's enough, if there's enough interest. And Soul Bollocks has said, like judo, absolutely spot on. I mean, I've never done judo. And someone said to me, judo? I said, no, I've just been. Sorry, terrible joke. And that's the thing. You see, you get your opponent, you could be very small, and you help them along. You help them to destroy themselves. So remember, oh, hang on a minute, we got somebody, look. Broadcaster, yes, please, good idea. Okay, well, hang on a minute, I'll show you where it's not yet, because I haven't loaded it up yet. Where are my banners? This is my website, okay, fuckaballradio.com. I'll be very straight with you. I keep saying this, but I haven't got around to it. It's a bit out of date, all right? Sorry about that, but again, I'll do my best. I'll pull my finger out and, slap wrists. I'll try and get these on there, okay? So this is it. This is the exempt one. And it looks very official. And this one, this is an old bootlace. I would like to tell you where this has been. I've walked through shit and Christ knows what. This I think is minging. No, I'm joking. Actually, I gave it a wash. I wouldn't put it around my neck otherwise. But it looks quite official. And there it is. So there's one. So you've got a choice. You can either have PSYOP, paranoia, exempt, cognitive dissonance, aware. Remember, the gorilla does not understand that. The gorilla will only see exempt. And that's what you don't want to find. The second objective, as I say, is to do your shopping. And the third objective is to get something through. Now, if someone is on the, just thinking, I wonder, I'm not too sure what's going on here. And they see that, or they've been doing some work. Now, this is the other one I've got, which is obedience muzzle ritual. Now, that's the word we got to get in, a ritual, okay? Because it is. There's nothing there offensive. They can't say, you can't come in, because I did think initially of putting things like scamdemic and things like that. No. That's taking excuse my language, the piss. This is taking the piss using that way. Because if the police or anybody came along and saw obedience muzzle ritual, they can't say you're taking, what can they say? Because, you are just saying it's an obedient, and that's what it is. It's not a mask, it is a muzzle. The way I look on it, it's a pneumonia breeder. So it's a muzzle, and you're looking at the ritual. Remember, COVID is a ritual, a satanic ritual like that. So that is something we've got to enter into the language, because remember, they're doing all this, I don't know, was it 2 meters and wash your hands and shove your finger up your arse and whatever it is you're going to do. Sorry, I'm joking there. We do our own version, but it's changing our look at things. I'll give you an example. If I said to you, have you seen the film The Sound of Music? Okay, you could either say yes or no. Someone says to me, have you seen The Sound of Music? Yes, I have seen it. If I say to you, have you seen the music of sound? I'm not dyslexic, but suppose I was dyslexic. Or somebody says to you, have you seen the music of sound? That makes you think in such the same way as this is making the susceptible person think. It's like Cliff Richards and how I can't stand Cliff Richard. No, personal, I just don't like him. And my sister, she adores him. But anyway, he said something which made me think many years ago. And he said that, because his real name is Harry Webb. And he said when he was thinking up his stage name, and an advisor said, he said Cliff Richards. An advisor said, no, make it Cliff Richard, because when you're on shows, they would 9 times out of 10 get it wrong and call you Cliff Richards. And then you'll have to correct the interviewer and you get your name read out twice. It's crafty, eh? But it works. You have to correct it. So again, we're using this. Now, let's go into chat again, see what we got here. We got here. Oh, yes, please. That's broadcasting the truth about this PDF file. We could start something off here. Now, we got here. What's this? Big up General Von Essex. Hi there. Actually, it reminds me, I could tell the General Custer joke if you haven't heard it. Pretty disgusting, I guess. Then we got here. Can you drop your website in the description, please? Certainly. Well, I'll just show it again. I'll have a quick flash. Yeah, I've just flashed it again. Here it is. See, yeah, I'll put it in the description a little bit later. You see, so that's one part. What I'm saying about is how to nudge. We've got to nudge carefully. But the other thing is state of mind and the way we approach the subject. Now, when we walk into the supermarket or anywhere where the gorillas are, think, if you're a man, think that you are a monk that's taken the vows of silence. Okay? And if you're a woman, think that you're a nun. And it doesn't matter what religion you are. I'm not being offensive to anybody, but think that you have taken the vows of silence. All right? Doesn't matter what you are. You have taken the vows of silence. Okay? Not even a nun or a monk. Just think you've taken the vows of silence, because my dear old dad told me two things. He said, where ignorance is bliss, is folly to be wise, and a still tongue keeps a wise head. Because remember, in battle, you've got to keep this thinking. And if you shout, holler, lose your temper, you've lost it. You've got to be peaceful, nice. So, you know, the gorilla comes, you got a marsh? Well, I've got a marsh, mate. Don't say anything. But remember, always with a charming smile. Oh, that's got to be pinned on you. Then comes the next. Now remember, this is ammunition, what you've got here. So don't use that, use that. That's first piece of ammunition. Now we'll get the howitzer out, shall we? This is the howitzer. Okay. Now this, I've actually laminated this. If you've got a laminating machine, you get them off eBay. Okay. Now, I don't expect you to read this here, but you can get this off and you can download it from, and I'll leave that. Now, I don't know anything about these people. They could be real, they could be fake, they could be anything, but I think that they seem to be okay. And what this says is, if somebody doesn't allow you into a store, don't shout and holler. Remember, vows of silence. Like at peace with yourself. Keep calm. Use this. Smile. Get this out of your case. Give this to them. And it says here, don't be a discriminator. You could receive a £9,000 fine. Equality Act 2010. Did you know, and this is 100% true, it's an offence to ask for proof of medical exemption. 2. Government guidelines state you should not challenge members of the public for proof. That is proof that you are exempt. You don't need to actually carry one of those signs with you, but remember, we're using this to nudge. We're nudging. 3. Members of the public are not required. Now, this is the interesting one for Morrison's. They're the supermarket that allegedly insist that you should wear one of these ding-dongs around your neck. Members of the public are not required to display a lanyard or proof of exemption from a GP. Not required to do that. Refusing entry based upon a disability is an offence which you are personally liable for. Okay? Company policy does not supersede the Equality Act of 2010. And lastly, legal action will be taken against those who discriminate against someone with a medical exemption and carries a fine of £900 to £9,000. Okay, so that's your. Hang on, let's take this up. Where are it? That's it. Oh, there we go. Off you go. That's it. Now that is your ammunition. That's what you're firing. And I've downloaded it from this site that I just put up, which is this one, and I've laminated it. Again, lamination is not that much more expensive. Now, the other thing with psychology is people walk in with a camera right in front, shoving it in people's faces. That upsets the gorillas, you know, and the chimps. You know, they are jumping around. No. What you need is one of these. And this is a spy pen. I bought this off of eBay and they're really cheap. They come from China. You can get them for about a tenner. I think you can get for a £5 now. And what this does, you undo it. It's like something out of a spy. It is a spy camera. This is an ordinary. Oh, it's an ordinary pen which I've just dropped somewhere. Is it gone? Yes, it's an ordinary pen, but inside you notice that you plug in a USB, and at the top there, I don't think you can see this, is a spy camera, and at the bottom there are red light flashes when you're working it. So you put this in your top pocket. Where did that go? It's gone somewhere. Oh well, I lost it. And what happens is, if they get shirty, oh, you still can't come in again. Nice. Excuse me, sir or madam, you do realise that this is being secretly recorded. Lift this out your pocket and they can see that flashing. And they don't know which way this is pointed because it's not in your face, it's subtle. It's, oh, this is being recorded, because you need to record it. The quality's not very good, but I don't know where the other bit's gone, but quite honestly, this is a very valuable tool. I haven't needed to use it. I wouldn't generally, I'd only use it in situations where there could be aggravation. I wouldn't use this amongst anybody else because I don't think it's very nice taking secret pictures of people, and I'm totally against it. I wouldn't like people taking secret pictures of me. But again, you're not allowed, you've got to actually tell them. You're not allowed to do it secretly. So you put this in your top pocket, you lift it out, you show them that it's the flashing light, and you say, this is a camera, and they can see it's a camera, you're being filmed. Could I have your name? Please. Notebook, pencil. Okay, very quietly spoken. Because the more quietly you are, the more creepy it is. The other one is body language. Now, you can, if you put your hands together like that, it's relaxed. Lean forward slightly. And if you want to be even more, because remember, if you're one down, you're not one up. You've got to be one up. You are talking down to them, not the other way around, but politely. The other one is wear sunglasses. Now, I only wear these glasses for driving and on the computer. So if I walk in, I put sunglasses on. When people can't see your eyes, that is psychologically gets them down. You're using psychology. I mean, my dear old dad, he studied psychology. He's very good at it. I'll never forget, many years ago, this is before the advent of mobile phones, we was down in London, and there was this, I think it was Oxford Circus, somewhere like that. There's a straight line of telephones there, and my dad was expecting a phone call back from my mum. He phoned my mum and he said, oh, I'm running out of coins, can you phone us back? And a woman came up to me and said, you're hogging that phone, oh, this is disgusting, why do you let other people have a go? And there's loads of phones along there. So my dad said, I agree with you, yes, I think you should complain to the manager. And she went, oh, because he did the opposite to what she expected. He didn't, he went with her, he helped her again. Ideological subversion. He was helping her to go against him. And she just went, oh, I walked away. That's the easiest way of doing it. So that is part one. I'm going to do several parts of this, of how we can fight back positively. So remember, the other one is people are saying, are you safe? Everything's for your safety now. We've got to change that word as well to, are you complicit? Are you complicit? Are you complicit? Different word. What you're saying is, are you going along with the agenda? Are you complicit? Because the reason I'm doing this and having this is because we want to tip the balance slightly to people that are on the edge of thinking things are not quite right. I'm sick of watching the BBC. I've been lied to a couple of times. They're the ones we're after, not the, well, you know, because I've actually found that if you look at the social media, it's not 77 Brigade. I think there's another organisation that's operating on social media. And what they say, it's all right for you unless you've had it. My granny and my uncle, they're both suffering from it, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, and I know that they're fiddling the figures because I believe it's seasonal FLU and they're just calling it COVID. And if you want to know any more about it, just have a look at Dr. Sam Bailey with Dr. Klaus Colin on, sounds name there, Colin on YouTube. And Dr. Klaus Colin is one of the top specialists in viruses. So you can't really get much higher than him. So that's, you know, but again, if you told someone with cognitive dissonance that, they go, oh yeah, I'll look that up, yeah, but no, they won't. They'll go back and they look at the BBC and they get a load of brainwashing for the BBC. So, you know, now I think that there's something else that's going on I've looked into, and that is apparently restaurants and takeaways are going to open en masse on the 30th of the 1st, 2021 in Scotland. Are they? Now, I've seen that on social media. Is it true? Does anybody else know anything about that? I don't know. Might do, might not do. So, you know, and the other one is that there's 30,000. Now, the first sign I saw was it was 500. Now it's 30,000. Italian restaurants defy lockdown. I hope so. I guess in Italy they're doing that. So they're defying this lockdown. So who knows, you know, so that's it. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this. And this is just the first part of several. Now, I'm going to do, you're probably wondering, where has the mystery hour disappeared to? Yeah, I'd like to know as well. I haven't heard much from Colin. He's busy. He's a very busy person, so I don't know what he's up to. But, you know, we sort of go for weeks and don't contact each other. Then he phones up out of the blue. That's what friendship is, really, isn't it? Anyway, I am going to do a show on atmospheres. You're thinking, huh? It's psychopaths and how they change the atmosphere around them. And it's an area that very few, if any, researchers have looked into. But it's something that I've looked into and I've actually experienced. And I'll let you in on a few little things about it. And let's have a look in chat first. I think I'm going to sit on that. Where has that ping top gone? Anyway, what we got? We got Paul. Hello, Paul. Not heard about it up here, Eric. Keep an ear open, though. Yeah. Yeah. Could it be another one of raising hopes and smashing them down again? Watch out for that, because remember, that is what they do. They're very good at that. That is their tactics. Remember, we've got to learn the enemy's tactics. And again, using nudge, counter nudge things. So remember, whenever you go into a supermarket, it is a ritual. Are you conforming to the ritual, satanic ritual? But it isn't, you know, and if you're safe, no, it's not safe. Are you, I keep forgetting this word, are you complicit? You've got to be complicit. That's it. Right. So anyway, I was going to say a little bit about psychopaths and atmospheres. Well, I've personally experienced an atmosphere change when psychopaths are around. And it's something I'm going to cover at a later date, but it's something that's fascinated me, and I might get a mystery guest on to talk about it. So there we go. So before I go, don't tell anybody, shall I do the General Custer jag? Okay. I did it a couple of months ago. Yeah. So for those of you that haven't heard the General Custer gag, here it is. You see, it's an American Air Force base in Britain, and they decided to commemorate General Custer's last stand. You see, so they decided to, you know, for good American English relations, to get an English sculpture, you know, one of these snowflake lefty types along, to do a beautiful sculpture of Custer's last stand that they could sort of stick outside the Air Force base, you see. So the day arrives, and there's all the generals there, you know, all their medals and aeroplanes flying over and the old band's going, and there's the cover over this statue of depicting Custer's last stand, you see. And the moment comes, and suddenly they pull the cloth off the statue, and there's a oh, because when you look at it, there's pictures of the depicted fish along the bottom, and there's then Indians, American Indians, having it off in all different positions, and over the top there's God. What the bloody hell's this? Quick, cover it up! And there's a hell of a hoo-ha. And I said, what the? Custer, get that guy on that's done this. Drag the poor sod on. What's the meaning of this? He said, well, that was Custer's last words. What? So that's depicting his last words. What do you mean? He said, holy mackerel, fucking Indians. And on that note, I bid you a pleasant evening, and remember to subscribe, tell others, ding the little bell, ding, 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 ding in the corner, and above all, have a bloody good laugh. And something I think we should do, and I think we should give a suggestion of this: can someone creep into the House of Commons at night and put whoopee cushions on all the seats that are filled with gravy? Now, wouldn't that make interesting television, wouldn't it? You know. Well, thank you for joining me. Okay, tell others, and things are picking up on this channel, which is good, isn't it? And I'll see you next Monday, possibly with a mystery guest. And good night.